What is up, Rad Potential YouTube? Welcome to today's video. This is going to be a wild one, or we'll just say a really satisfying one, because here, before we get into the car stuff, you guys are going to see me time-lapse spread out 22 tons of gravel onto my driveway. It's going to be really funny. You'll watch like 2 seconds or 3 seconds probably, because I'll speed up the time-lapse, but it'll all go away. Anyways, what do we do this morning? So, I took Kirby Sheba, the white car, the turbo car, to Cars and Coffee Columbia this morning. It was super awesome. Met some really cool guys. Guys with a Volvo, guy with a H swapped like old school Accord. Really sweet, really clean car. Just a fun morning. However, I almost didn't make it home. I had this weird thing happen with this car. I've never had it happen before. But it was like the fuel pump wasn't keeping up at low RPM, right? So you would think your fuel pump, right, when it would wear out or get something in it or get clogged, would not like it at the top end. But what I was having an issue with, and maybe it's a tune, I was thinking injectors initially off the cuff. But this car has really big injectors in it, and at low speeds, right, a big injector is going to work a lot slower, and at high speeds it can work faster, which exercises the injector really well. So anyways, I was cruising and it went dead lean, and by dead lean I mean like 17.5 AFR, the whole deal. Wouldn't even like drive up a hill. But the weirdest part is that if I free revved it, as soon as it revved and got into boost, it would make, plenty of fuel pressure, and it would go. So basically I had to drive home. I'd rev the car up in third, so rev it up on with the clutch in, and then dump the clutch when it had pressure, and then it would get into boost right away, and the Haltech turns the fuel pump voltage up when it's in boost, right? It slows it down when you're cruising and frees it up. And once it would turn the voltage up, then the fuel pump could keep up, and I made it home. So anyways, that was my debacle for the morning. But I have a question for you before we start working on the rally car and the driveway, which is what we're doing this weekend. So, next weekend, these two cars become 1.5 cars, if they're not already 1.5 cars currently. So the Mouse, if you have seen it or haven't seen it, this is a 1980s, my very first Rx7, full Bridgeport build. I broke the transmission a while ago, disc brakes, the whole deal. Great car, runs and drives. It's just stuck in third gear right now. This car is an 84 GSLSE that I used to own. Well, I guess I say used to own, I still own it. And it used to be fuel injected Series 4, FC swapped. It was all the GSLC suspension. I'll put a picture in right now. It looked sick. So what I'm thinking, and I guess more so a question for some of you other guys out there, this car needs painted, but I don't want to paint it, right? At the top of the car, really just the clear coat's coming off down to like this body line here. So what I'm thinking about, and I got a little bit coming past the body line, but no big deal. I think we'll be okay. What I'm thinking about doing is giving it a two-tone wrap job. I think I'm gonna run a stripe down the body line and then wrap the top of the car black and leave the bottom half of the car the original Tornado silver. So you can just see, like in this picture right here, good paint, bad paint. So drop a comment below if you think that'd be a good idea. I don't know how that long of a wrap seam would hold up necessarily, or if I should do like some pinstripes or whatever, but pretty stoked for that. The FD, if you check out the next video, the FD gets its fuel pump swap or fuel filter swapped and goes back to Richard in the next video. So I'm pretty stoked for that, which that's happening tomorrow. It's kind of a inception, 2 videos going on at the same time doing different stuff. But we got this going. Man, let me tell you, springtime is epic, right? You got birds chirping, beautiful day. Wear my t-shirt. It's not too crazy. The quick FD video, or the quick FD update though, sneak peek we'll say into the next video. Polished them, fixed the leaks, oil pressure, checked out. Sick. So, next time we're going to be hopping to, let's get to fixing the driveway when the rock gets here in about 10 minutes, and then we'll be back cranking on this, getting this thing running. So getting the fuel pressure regulator stuff situated, figuring out those lines, and then we're going to go ahead and get to mounting some of this LRB speed goodness. So I ordered a a center panel here to go in the car. I've got new door panels in a box somewhere right here. New door panels in this box. And then also I've got a LRB Speed dash vent to go in this box. I need to put a list together for what windshield clips I need to get. And then I'm also going to go ahead and steal some of the windshield trim from one of my parts cars down there. So I can put this one back together. I have most of it up here, but I just need to go make sure I have every piece. We'll put the antenna delete on. I need to find these little bits here for the quarters. And I think I'm going to put the drip rail trim back on. On Charles' Repu, the blue one, which you've seen, we left the drip rail trim off and just left a painted drip rail. So these old cars and trucks, most of them will have a chrome drip rail, right? That goes on there. It looks just like this piece here. Well, on first gens they're black, but it looks just like this piece here. And if you've ever removed one of these, they're really not that hard. All you need is a bottle opener. And this piece, which I have the wrong side in my hand, but this piece goes here, right? It would actually be like this, because this front end, this side connects into the trim. There's a weird looking corner piece there, which I need to make sure I find those. I know I don't have those. But I'm excited to show you guys in a future video here when I do this, put the trim and stuff on next week, show you guys how all that trim fits, because that's something that I've never really done it, but I know I can figure it out. So we'll get to it. But check out this beautiful day. Alright, let's get to fixing the driveway. In about 0.05 seconds, you guys are going to see a giant pile of rock right here, and then in the preceding 10 seconds, you're going to see it all go away. Good morning, Rad Potentialites, or whatever type of day, time of day you are watching this. Welcome to the next day of my time in the video. So, went over to the other side of town, ended up staying here later because Richard wanted to come get the FD, so he came and picked that car up. He was super happy with it, which is awesome. But you guys will see the last video on the FD after this one. But we drove the Corvette, right? Because you buy cars to drive. You don't buy cars to sit there and look at them. At least most of the cars I can afford, you don't buy to sit there and look at. Now, if you have like a 1 of 12 Shelby Cobra original owned by Carroll Shelby, whatever, in original whatever condition, yeah, you probably don't drive that car. But buy cars to drive. So Corvette. You can still get new carpet for a Corvette. You can still replace everything in a Corvette. So why not haul a transmission in the back of your Corvette? So, went over to Charles' house. He had a Series 4 FC transmission for me. And that is one of the things that I'm going to explain to you here in a second. Why the S4 transmission is a good one for your first gen. So, I had to haul it, obviously, in the back of my car, which entails a welding blanket, the transmission in a trash bag, and me right now not scratching the back of my car getting this out. So let's see how much we've been lifting. Oh yeah, like a glove. Alright, so I'm going to unwrap this over here and then I'll give you the rundown on it. The quick and dirty rundown on transmission swaps and first gens. Okay, I have a video that outlines everything you'll need to know, but here's just a quick and dirty bit. On an FB, so this chassis right here, not an SA, an FB, alright? SAs are different. On an FB, the shifter sits basically centered over the output shaft, so it's about an inch further forward than an FC trans. I don't know, could you all have seen that? Yeah, you guys are seeing that. So it sits an inch further forward than an FC trans. One thing you can do if you need to, you can swap the tail housing section of your transmission. So from here, this set of bolts back will come off, and you can put an FB tail housing on it from a 12A trans or from whatever. And what that will allow you to do is your transmission mount will now line up perfectly, and it will just bolt right in. The shifter will be in the right spot. The transmissions are all, up until S4, basically the same on the inside as far as dimensions, right? So your output shaft length, where the shifter fork touches all the little the points in there to shift gears, the bolt pattern, everything's pretty much the same. Just the outside and the shifter location is different, which you can change that. So what I'm going to do, and this is also transmission knowledge for you guys, I am just going to put this FC transmission in the first gen exactly as it is. I'm not going to move the shifter forward that 1 inch. It still lines up in the hole. I prefer the shifter to be closer to me anyways when I'm in one of these cars, so I have to sit so far back. So let me carry this log chain over here. We'll go to the shop and I'll show you in the rally car. Alright, so here's another super awesome life hack for you guys. Get you a friend that has cats. Don't get cats, I'm not a big cats guy. But get you a friend that has cats. These tidy cats, like litter box things, work awesome for storing stuff. The lids generally don't break when you open and close them, etc. Okay, so on an FB, your transmission stuff, right? That's what we're going to talk about for this little segment. So if you look, here, right? So you can see where the transmission, the shifter lines up on the output shaft. So the FC one, this is a little further back. It might not clear entirely perfect, as you can see there, right? A little bit less space. But I'd prefer the shifter to be closer to me. So whenever I put that transmission into the 99 car, I'm not going to change the tail housing on it. On an SA, I'll just show you for what it's worth. SA trans right here. Notice shifter way further forward. So an FB trans, FC trans won't fit in an SA unless you swap. You can put that tail housing section, that whole thing, the SA one, on an FC trans, no problem as well. So not an S5. An S5 has a weird balancy thing in it that won't work. So, all right. Well, now that we've done all of that talking and blabbering or whatever, I'm going to go ahead and get the center console piece from LRB Speed put in and fitted up today. Is one of my goals. Get this car up in the air here in the middle and start working on the exhaust. So a little bit of a longer video, but we're going to accomplish some stuff. We're going to restart the clip. Alright guys, so we're not putting the LRB Speed parts in because I got this wild hair to go ahead and make the exhaust. So if you remember a couple videos ago, I mentioned I was going to make the exhaust, and here's the general breakdown, right? My welder's still hot, I want to turn it off. Sorry about the fan. Engine, flange at the bottom of the header, long mid pipe, flange before it goes over the axle, slip fit muffler with a tip, so you can aim the tip away from the sound people, therefore not breaking sound. So, how far have we gotten in the last 30 minutes? I have made the mid pipe, and I have attached the flange to the header. All this is just tacked. The general premise of how this sits in there is this way. So it goes back from the header, which just has a little bit of a bend on it. This thing kind of sits like that, if that makes sense. See how it's sticking up off the ground down there? About like that. So this runs down the side of the trans tunnel. I don't find it quite necessary to make the exhaust go over to the transmission and then back around. When you're running a 2.5-inch pipe, you can still keep a majority of it tucked up in the edge of the tunnel, and then that's still higher than the frame rails. When you go to like a 3-inch or bigger, which on a 140 horsepower rotary is completely unnecessary, even a 2.5 is probably completely unnecessary, then it gets harder to tuck it up. So this you won't see any of it under the frame rail, but it does run dead straight down the tunnel. And what that does, I did this on my silver car and on this one, this exhaust setup will allow you to drop the transmission, pull the drive shaft, do whatever, without having to take the exhaust off, which is a huge win. So from here, basically all I've used to make this so far, 2 sets of flanges, a 6-foot piece of 2.5-inch tubing, and then I'm pretty sure I'm going to get it done with one of these. So you can buy these from Speedway or Amazon or whoever, 2.5 inch. They call it a J bend. It's got a 90 and a U. Usually I only need the U to go over the axle. They give you enough straight bits here to kind of make up some of those middle joints. And then once the U goes over the axle to about here, I guess, we'll show you the general science. So this is not this right here is not a complete U, right? This is only, you know, what is that, 90 degrees maybe 120 degrees of a U, and a U is 180. You can use the other 60 here and flip it around backwards. So U, cut the U, flip it 180, and now you have that. Kind of neat. I'll show you once I start building it, but I'm going to get to tack this in a little bit better so I can be a little meaner to it while I'm putting the next bits in, and then I'm going to start cutting up that U piece to make over the axle part. And then from there we will be fitting this muffler. Now, you're going to be like, whoa, that's a big muffler. Well, I'm going to tell you, it doesn't do very much. I can't even hold this thing. Let me get a better grip on it. If I drop this, I'm sorry. It doesn't do very much. You can see straight through it. So, anyways, this is the exact same exhaust setup minus the header that I have on my silver Rx7, which full Bridgeport sounds epic. It's not quiet, so don't expect this exhaust system to be quiet. It's on a race car. It will be loud, and that is kind of the intent. I mean, in rally, there's generally, there's sound requirements, but with this being a slip-fit muffler, you can always make it quieter. So I never had issues with my yellow car. The yellow car had a straight pipe all the way to a little Racing Beat rotor muffler, which is essentially the same as that, except that was $35, and the rotor mufflers are like $200. So that'll be just fine. The packing's been holding up really well in the silver car. So I'm gonna crawl back under here, finish up this exhaust. You guys will see it once I'm ready to kind of put it all back on here in a little bit. Alright guys, so we have completely, well, we'll say 95% of the way finished the exhaust on the rally car, and it is sick. So here's what we got for the muffler. Chilling, very not intrusive location. I like keeping it up out of the way. As you can see, if I hit the muffler on something, we have hit the gas tank on something, which would be very unfortunate. So there will be a support bracket from here to the back of the car to hold the muffler up. We have the flange right up in here that takes this whole section off. The muffler is slip fit so that we can aim the sound. There'll be a 90-degree turn down on it. And the rest of the exhaust is sick. So the exhaust is completely above the frame rail all the way up. The last thing that I have to do is heat wrap the header, which is down in there. You can't really see it. And we're done. So I've got to pick up a little chrome tip. I like to weld them on because typically the tips will fall off, but the mufflers won't. So the muffler is the piece that spins to direct the sound. The rest of it's not. And mainly that's because if you have the noise guy at a racetrack on this side of your car, you want to point the sound that way, vice versa. So stoked that the exhaust is done. Kind of just banged it out tonight. Took me about 2 hours. All of it's done with a grinder as a cutting wheel, my simple welder, and just mild steel exhaust tubing, and there's a couple bends. So pretty easy stuff. Nothing too complex. So with that, drop a comment below. If I uploaded that 360 video with the driving stuff yesterday, I tried not to talk too much in it. Would you rather see those with like more of my commentary, or would you rather see them with just driving stuff? So comment below on that. Comment below any questions you have on the race car. We're fixing to start working on the interior and finishing up the running stuff this week, and hoping to also get to work on the Rx8 a little bit here in the next future. We also have the Mouse to 99 car swap going down this coming weekend, so get stoked for that. Thank you guys very much for watching. Hope you all had a blessed day. Keep it rad. We'll see you in the next one.